Welcome to City Life. I'm Beverly Thompson. For anyone who is set in what many call the I-40 parking lot, you know firsthand how travel in the Triangle is becoming increasingly difficult as our region grows. While there are a number of projects that GoTriangle is working on to improve our transportation network, none has been more controversial than the proposed Durham-Orange light rail transit project. Joining me to talk about this project and what's next given recent developments is Natalie Murdock with GoTriangle. Welcome, Natalie, and thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So Natalie, get us started by talking to us briefly about this project and why GoTriangle believes it's the best solution for the Triangle. I mean, this certainly has been a controversial project.
Yes, it has. I think any major investment in the region like this would generate a lot of discussion, and really since the inception of, at the time, the Triangle Transit Authority and now GoTriangle, there's always been plans for a regional rail system, as everyone knows, due to all the employment opportunities and the temperate climate and amazing institutions nationally known. There is a large demand of folks moving to this area. The region will continue to grow, so we do want to look at a long-term transportation solution that will help us to get around a lot easier in the Durham and Chapel Hill area.
And this project, I believe, is like $1.5 billion and is 17 miles long, right?
Yeah, so $1.5 billion, 17-mile project, and we definitely wanted to serve the major activity centers from UNC Hospital, the Friday Center 54 area along 15501 at Patterson Place and South Square, Duke University, as well as downtown Durham and East Durham. So we wanted to make sure that we could serve all those different areas, so that's why it is a 17-mile project.
Okay, but in terms of money and funding, where is it coming from?
Yes, we are following the Charlotte model with our funding. So by looking at that model, about 25% of the funding was provided locally, about 25% was provided by the state, and about 50% was provided by the federal government.
Now, Natalie, how does the state budget provision, which recently capped the funding at $500,000, which is a long way from $1.5 billion, impact the future of the project? Also, if the federal government chooses not to fund the project, where does that leave us?
Yes, we have been working very closely with our state legislatures as well as other supporters of the project to get that funding restored. So as a lot of folks know, we were initially allotted about 10%, a little less than 10% in state funding of $138 million. And so during the end of the session, the Senate did work to provide a budget amendment that would restore that state funding. And so we will continue to work with our state legislatures in the short session early next year to get that funding restored. We are confident about our federal partners. They did recently provide us with a almost $1.7 million grant to focus on the development that will occur around the light rail stations. So we did take that as a sign that our federal partners are in it for the long haul and really want to work with us in getting this project funded. Locally, our half-cent sales tax for Durham and Orange County provides that local 25% that will be needed.
So it seems like the big hurdle is the state at this point, huh?
Yes, we'll continue working with the state on the funding, but we do think it looks promising, and we'll continue to not only work with the state legislators, but as well as the governor's office has expressed support for the project as well. And so we do want to continue to work through that state budgeting process.
I know a big step in this project was just completed in October, where GoTriangle held 2 public hearings, I believe, for residents in Durham and Chapel Hill. And there was a public comment period, and I understand there were a lot of public comments for sure, but they weighed in on what's called the draft environmental impact statement. What is this statement, and why is it such an important part of the process?
Yes, for all major projects like this, the environmental impact statement is a huge part of that project. So since we're 10 years out, we like to take the time long before we ever break ground to evaluate what will the impacts of this project possibly be. So with a project such as this, where you will be building new infrastructure, you do want to consider impacts to communities, impacts to homes, impacts to the natural environment, to certain species and things of that nature. So this is a time where we really want to get that feedback from our local governments, from citizens, from organizations, to kind of get their feedback on what they perceive those impacts to be. In addition to that, we perform our own studies to look at what those possible impacts will be and release those in a document that is known as the draft draft environmental impact statement. So the formal public comment period for that, which you referenced, ended on October 13th. And so we collected all of those comments and we'll combine those into a final document that will be available in February. And so this environmental study of about 2 years is needed before you enter into construction, engineering, and design.
Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, the project definitely has not been without controversy, and that was evident by the public hearing sessions that you held last month. Let's talk a bit about the pros expressed and who is actually supporting this project.
Okay, we do have a number of project supporters. I think first and foremost, a few years ago when Durham-Orange County went to the polls and voted in favor of a half-cent sales tax, the expectation was that at long term we would fund a rail system. So I think it definitely started with that. Some other local support, our local governments have recently provided support for the project. That includes the town of Chapel Hill, Orange County, Durham County, City of Durham, other local organizations such as the Orange County Sierra Club, the Southern Environmental Law Center, Durham CAN, as well as the Coalition for Affordable Housing and Transit has expressed support. So we definitely work with those supporters. They were very vocal when we did have some concerns with the state funding. So there is a lot of support for the project. And on the congressional side, Representative G.K. Butterfield as well as Representative David Price have also expressed support for the project.
Okay, all right, that sounds good. But there also have been some negatives expressed as well.
Yes.
And in particular, your response to some of the concerns that they've had are definitely something that has been at the top of mind for a lot of people.
Yes.
In fact, our Durham Television Network crew attended one of those public hearings. Let's hear what some folks had to say.
It is ludicrous to think that a fixed rail train will be able to serve the dynamic growing area of Durham-Chapel Hill with all its suburban sprawl. Most of the planned stations would require supplemental transportation to arrive at final destinations. In major area destinations like the airport, the main area job center, Research Triangle Park, and even our neighboring city, Raleigh, the state capital, are not served.
So Natalie, does this plan not match appropriately the area or even solve the need for supplemental transportation?
Yes, GoTriangle does believe that the Durham-Orange Light Rail Transit Project is the best long-term solution for the corridor. We all experience the traffic every day. We know that 15501, 54, I-40 are consistently congested and will continue to be in the future. And so we really wanted to look at an alternative that would provide a long-term solution, not just a short-term solution for the traffic in the area.
Okay, all right. Well, let's take a look at another concern and how some believe buses are a better answer.
Buses are transportation too, and a far more efficient use of tax money than any permanently fixed rail line. The routes can be changed very quickly as needs change, whereas the rail lines cannot. Buses are senior friendly and can service the entire Durham-Orange area.
So Natalie, would buses be a better solution for this area?
Yes, so we are first and foremost a bus company, so we are very passionate about our bus service and will continue to expand our bus service over the next 10 years. That is a part of our long-range vision for the area and the region and the corridor, but there will come a time where buses will not be enough in specific areas, and so that is the area where we are proposing the light rail transit project to supplement the bus system that will serve Durham-Orange as well as Wake County.
Okay, all right. Well, here's another concern about the rail and maintenance operations facilities.
I vehemently oppose the selection of Farrington Road for the ROMF. This is indeed an industrial-type facility with all its inherent noise and light pollution. This facility will be open 24/7 and have 110 to 175 employees. It will have a rail yard where all the train cars will return each night after midnight to receive repairs, maintenance, cleaning, be stored for a few hours, and then depart at 5 a.m. each and every day.
So Natalie, will noise and light pollution really be a concern?
Yes, we definitely understand that concern. A bus and operation maintenance facility or a rail and operation maintenance facility, those can be new concepts for people, and we definitely understand those concerns. We take those concerns very seriously, but in visiting the facility in Charlotte and some other facilities nationwide, we were able to see that these are quiet facilities. These are facilities that can really be incorporated into the community. A lot of the work occurs inside of the building, unlike outside, which is what a lot of folks think. So they aren't very loud. A number of the workers come in and out, not at typical times, so it really won't generate a lot of additional traffic in the area. And most of the workers, when they're there, they stay put. They remain there. So essentially, you can think of it as an office building with some trains that are attached to it.
Here's a final concern about the safety of rail crossings.
It is assumed by most that the light rail will at least be safe. This is a false assumption. The current proposal includes at least one intersection that will be extremely dangerous. This is not just because it is an intersection where the train runs at grade level, ground level, but the key danger is that there is not, nor will there be, a traffic light at this intersection. The intersection is Downing Creek Parkway and Highway 54. NCDOT has made it clear that they will not put a traffic light in there. As cars try to make their way onto the very busy Highway 54, they will be forced to stop on the tracks and run the real risk of the rail gate coming down behind their car, thus trapping them on the tracks. Stopping on the tracks may be illegal, but there will be no other way to get to Highway 54 during most hours, since the track will come very close to the highway, and there will be two tracks side by side equaling a 30-foot span. A car will be hard-pressed to get onto Highway 54 without stopping on the tracks in order to get close enough to 54 to make it into the traffic without a traffic light. Please note that the train will be crossing this intersection 140 times every day. Recipe for disaster.
So Natalie, will crossings be safe?
Yes, since we are 10 years out, the exciting thing about that is we have time to do additional research nationwide to follow best practices to really make sure that these intersections and at-grade crossings are as safe as they possibly can be. So it will really be two parts. We'll do everything that we can to make sure that we have the best and most up-to-date and cutting-edge technology, and we also will work to educate citizens about how to be safe as they approach light rail crossings.
So Natalie, what's the next step overall in this plan, and when will the public have another opportunity to weigh in?
Okay, so we are about 10 years out, so that gives us plenty of time to continue to work with the community on their concerns and to work with our state and federal partners on the project. So our public comment period, as you mentioned, did conclude in October. The next phase will be to incorporate all of those comments into our final document that will be released in February, and then next year we do anticipate that we will apply into engineering through the federal government late 2016, and then from there we do hope to begin construction in 2019 and be operational in around 2026.
Okay, all right. So if our viewers want more information about this project, what should they do?
Okay, ourtransitfuture.com is the project website, and that is the best place to get the most up-to-date information about the light rail transit project. And they can also find us on social media on Twitter, Instagram, as well as Facebook to also get updates there as well.
Okay, well, if you have any final thoughts about this project that you'd like to share with people, feel free to do that right now.
Yeah, we would just encourage our community to continue to remain involved and stay engaged. We need to hear all of that feedback, and we will continue to work with everyone on providing folks with more information about the project. And as we enter design, want to get that feedback of how we can better incorporate our design into the communities. And we are excited to continue to provide such a major resource to the regions to give folks another transit option, another transportation option as they travel to commute to work and school.
Natalie, thank you so much for joining me to talk about this project.
Thank you so much, Beverly.
All right. Well, that does it for City Life. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter, and watch us on Durham Television Network and on YouTube. Plus, stay right where you are, because after this show, you'll get a sneak peek at what's to come in the next edition of Durham Magazine, and why you'll want to get a copy for yourself. I'm Beverly Thompson. Thank you for joining me to learn more about city life in Durham.
everyone! The team behind Durham Magazine has published Navigating Schools, a 52-page comprehensive guide for parents of school-age children in Durham, Orange, and northern Chatham counties. We answer parent-submitted questions and run the numbers on our school systems, from average class size to the number of teacher aides. We chat with experts about picking the right preschool. We interview 4 local parents about the state of our schools and how to know whether to go the public, private, or homeschool route. We clear up common misconceptions about private schools and give tips regarding the admissions process. We consult 3 local experts for advice when it comes to getting into college. And we introduce you to some recent high school grads who chose not to jump immediately into a 4-year college setting. Plus, we offer a comprehensive directory of private, charter, magnet, and regional boarding schools. You can read Navigating Schools from cover to cover on our website, durhammag.com. or call our office at 919-933-1551 to request your own copy. Thanks as always for reading Durham Magazine and our entire family of products.